Welcome to How To in a Few. Today we're going to tackle a problem. Like there's ever a shortage of problems of me to video, but we're going to tackle a problem that potentially could freak you out. It apparently, now looking after the facts, is a common problem with the Hemi engine that can cause it to either have hard starting or no starting, even though the motor still cranks over. So the way this problem presented itself is it was a little bit hard to start, wouldn't start the first time as normal, and I turn the key back and then turn the key and then would crank up fine. Ran a little rough. I had one or two stalls the day before, and then ultimately at work, of course, went to leave and start the truck, and it would not start. Just so happened a little bit later, did get it to start, and I got it home and avoided a tow bill. So during that time, I researched it a little bit and found some of the problems that it could be, because I didn't have my code reader handy to check the computer code that was being thrown. But I have that hooked up now. I'm going to try to show you the problem. It may crank right up, it may not. Hopefully you'll see the problem present itself. I'm going to show you how to read the code with a code reader. We'll take a look at what it is, and then we'll go ahead and hopefully solve that problem so that your problem will be solved too. Alright, so of course, when you want the problem to be recreated, it won't happen for you, but it did happen. That left me kind of stranded at first, and then when I brought the truck home and checked it later on that evening, it occurred again, where it was difficult, if not impossible, to start. So as the vehicle is now, it's not really in a condition that I would trust it to take it anywhere, because there's a potential for a pretty costly tow bill. So we're going to go ahead and troubleshoot the problem using the computer and trying to fix the problem so that we can again trust the vehicle to take us from place to place. Okay, first thing we're going to do is hook up the code reader. Turn our ignition on and see what kind of codes we're getting. Alright, two trouble codes. First wide view. First one, trying to get it without glare, but in any event, it's the P0340 camshaft position sensor A. And then the second one, circuit malfunction camshaft positioner sensor A. So we are going to go ahead and change that sensor. It was around $30 at our local auto parts store. And let's take a look at that part right now. Alright, so here's what our part looks like. There's a end here that hooks to the engine wiring harness, and this portion which inserts into the engine, and it senses the position of the camshaft. There's one retaining screw that goes in here. That presumably is 10 millimeters, so upon removal of that 10 millimeter bolt, we should be able to pull this out. We're going to lubricate this a little bit as we insert the new one, fasten it, and put the new plug back on, or they put the plug back into the new part, and everything should be good. Now, the biggest hindrance is going to be how high the engine is. I'm going to go get a step stool. I'm going to remove part of the air filter assembly just so that I have room over here on the left to access the sensor. Alright, I already have this loose. Undo the air filter. Now I have to say, I don't know if you just noticed that, this whole air take assembly appears to be loose. There's only one time that I trusted my vehicle to have it repaired somewhere because it was a broken valve spring, which is common on this engine, and I felt that was beyond what I wanted to do, if not could do on my own. And then so here we see the result of that, is that things were not put back together correctly. But now I could remove this. You know what? Let's see what appears. This just lifts out of the way, so we might get lucky here. Every once in a while these Chrysler engineers impress me. Okay, that is just incredible access now. Crazy. Alright. I can actually see the 10mm bolt, and I should be able to get a camera view in there too. Let me go grab some tools. I'll be right back. Alright, because it's kind of hard to get in there, I'm going to go ahead and use my cell phone just to show you where the sensor is. You can see the wiring harness here. And as I get in there a little deeper, I'm going to move this out of the way. There we can see one 10mm screw and the connector. Looks as if the release for the connector might be on top. I don't know, honestly. Well, yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and try to, you know what, I think I'm going to wait and remove the plug after we get the sensor out, so we can avoid any kind of damage to that plug. Alright, so here's our 10mm ratchet. See if we can get on that. Alright, I think I spoke too soon about how easy this would be. Now ideally you'd want to put a rag or something down there to catch this screw, so that you don't end up losing it. Alright, it's not wanting to cooperate. Well, the plug came off. Hopefully it's still intact. There's a ground strap here that's not connected. Presumably it should be connected to this valve cover. Okay. So there we have it. All removed. Not very pretty. It looks like the oil gunk in the engine may have been holding it in there. But I did effectively destroy it on the way out. So make sure you have a replacement part. And be careful. I ended up pulling it out like this with these pliers. If this cracks and gets stuck inside, you could be in for probably a major repair bill. So make sure you have it and you don't rock it from side to side causing it to crack. Just straight out pull. Alright, I don't believe we're going to be able to clean in there, but I think we're going to go ahead and put a little dialectic grease around this seal on the new one, so that when we insert it, it doesn't seize up. Alright, so here again is the new one. This dielectric grease is a silicone based dielectric grease, and now we're going to insert it back in. Just going to make sure that it's all the way around this O-ring. Alright. Placement is opposite of removal, right? Well, that went in nice and easy. I'm going to go ahead and get this 10mm screw started. Alright, that also didn't give us any resistance, so let's go ahead and tighten that up. Now it is a metal part, so I'm just going to tighten it up enough so that it holds. I'm not worried about the plastic stripping or breaking, but I'm not going to torque it down real tight. I'm sure there's a manufacturer's spec for that. You might want to look that up. Now before we plug the plug back in, I'm going to go ahead and grease up the plug also with a little bit of this dielectric grease. My hope there is to cut down on any possible corrosion. Turns out all you have to do is with some firm pressure on the rear part of this plug towards the back of the engine, use your thumb and push, and it will loosen the plug. I took it on and off about 4 more times just to kind of let those contacts make good contact. I'm going to get me a little socket or screwdriver and see if we can't reattach that ground wire to the top of this valve cover. Alright, so you missed probably a bit of that. I put the air filter assembly back in, thought it was taping. I latched on the top part, put the rubber boot on. Now I'm just going to finish tightening up the rubber boot. I'm going to move my tools away, and then we're going to go clear that code using that code reader, and then we'll start it up and hopefully we'll be good to go. Okay, let's hook our code reader up one more time. Ignition on. This time we're going to go down to erase codes. Yes, we're sure. And rescan. And no codes. Alright, so there we go. It should start up. Let's go give it a try. All the error codes have been removed. twice for good measure. There's a little bit of muffler noise. That's a problem that I won't be making a YouTube video about. I'm going to actually have to get somebody to put me some new flow masters on there. But the engine sounds good. I'm not getting any more trouble codes, so hopefully we have the problem fixed. I'm not sure I'm ready to take it on a long trip, but maybe a few short trips, just in case the problem resurfaces. It's always hard when you have an intermittent problem to know for sure that that you found the problem and corrected it, since it was starting before we started the video, as you saw. But we did have trouble codes, which are no longer there, so that's a good sign. And I'm really feeling that it's running a little bit smoother than before. That could just be my imagination. Yeah, other than the muffler, it's sounding good, so hopefully we'll be good to go. So hopefully that helped you out. That was a replacement of the camshaft sensor, camshaft position sensor. It was around $30 to get the part, so if that's truly the issue, then I'm going to be real happy, because I avoided a tow bill, because it did start for me, and $30 on a used car without a car note is obviously a good deal. So hopefully that was your problem and you can get it corrected easily. I will say that during my research there were a lot of people complaining about hard starts, and that if you held the accelerator down that the car would start. I think that seems like it's a fuel injector issue where too much fuel is leaking into the engine. Hopefully that's not your issue, because that will probably require fuel injectors to be replaced. And when you step on the accelerator, what's happening is that the computer tells the injectors, or tells the system, to stop fuel delivery. So you're essentially, by pressing down the throttle all the way, cutting the fuels. And if you have a fuel injector problem, then that's why it starts, because you're unflooding the engine essentially. But that's a different problem. This was camshaft sensor. We had the codes in the computer to kind of steer us in that direction, and hopefully we're good to go. Hopefully that helped you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, because that goes a long way in keeping my videos fresh. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.